The brain is an organ of soft nervous tissue contained in the skull of vertebrates, functioning as a coordinating center of sensation and intellectual and nervous activity. And this is my podcast. So together, this is My Brain on a Podcast.
So you're afraid to talk in front of people, right? My name is Michael, and this is my podcast, My Brain on a Podcast. Recently, the topic of discussion has been communication, or being just different aspects of the social life, or communication. And I thought I would reintroduce myself for anyone new, or refresh your memory of who I am. For one, I'm a sophomore in college whose degree is going to be a Bachelor of Arts in Communications with a minor of radio and TV. Not a minor, an option of radio and TV. I don't have a minor yet. Second of all, I have countless experiences with communicating in the classroom, outside the classroom, and in multiple areas of work, or in multiple settings of different settings where communication is needed. So I'm very aware of how to communicate, and so I'm here to help you. Public speaking. It is a very scary thing if you think about it. You're supposed to. You might question yourself. I'm supposed to go in front of a group of this number of people, this big amount of number of people, and open myself up for a possibility of getting made fun of, or for people to laugh at me, or to harm me in any way, or to just think of me differently. It's a scary thing. It's very intimidating if you're not careful with it. And today we're going to go through the steps, or a shorter version of the process going into public speaking. So, for anything, for number one, basically, you need to be prepared for any type of public speaking opportunity you get, or for the public speaking opportunity you are given, which would probably mean, and depending on the situation, you either need to know your speech or presentation by heart, memorize line by line, if not bullet points memorized. For one, that's just number one of that. But two, you probably need to have your speech written out, or at least a version of the speech written out, so that you can have a baseline or a guideline on what you're going to say. For instance, in my speech class that I'm enrolled in this year, the very first speech was an introductory speech, and it only had to be 2 minutes, maximum 4.5. And so my goal was just 2 minutes. Or my goal was just to give a speech. I didn't really care about time limit. But what was the first thing I did? I wrote down on multiple pieces of paper. I wrote my speech down different ways, or modified versions of what I was going to say. And I did this probably about 5 times. I said it probably about 5 different times, just in the first day of preparation. The second day of preparation, I bullet pointed my final product from the first day. And even off of that, on the day of the speech, I improvised. But I wouldn't be able to do that type of communication, that improvisation, without that preparation. Preparation is going to get you 75% of the way there. Execution is going to carry you over the limit. You know, if you just execute, if you really just prepare, the execution is important, don't get me wrong there, but if you really just prepare, the least you're doing is just reading off in front of people, or giving off a tone of just like, I'm just reading off of the paper, which is not the best. I'll agree with most people that reading off a paper in front of a group is not the best public communication, but it's somewhere. It's making progress from not communicating at all to communicating some. Even though you sound like a robot, you're still making the jump from not communicating. Now, take it even further from reading off of a paper. If you prepared well, if you took your preparation seriously, you might not need to look at that paper the whole time. Your transcript of what you're going to say, you might only need it for certain points that are kind of hard to memorize, or just in an odd place, or just whatever it is. And if you took your preparation seriously. If you were dead set on acing this speech, or acing your presentation, or your job interview, you're going to know your speech front end to back. You'll probably be able to give it backwards from the ending to the beginning. That's how well you're going to know the speech. It's not going to be a conversation of I'm prepared, but I'm not. You're not going to be sitting there before your speech saying, "Oh, I'm prepared, but I'm not really ready to give this. I don't know how I'm going to perform." That's not the conversation here. Conversation here is, I'm prepared. Now I need to execute. And how you execute, you could take this a couple ways. For one, you could just be normal. And what I mean is, you don't have to be over the top. You do not have to yell, scream, and shout, have the best hand motions, you don't necessarily have to perform for the group. You can literally just be up front and, give that presentation or speech to the group while getting your point across and not being a total snooze fest. But you could also perform it, kind of grab the emotion out of the room and give it some emotion, and just take away the show, steal it, knock people's socks off, the proverbial socks, knock those things off. Then you'll see how well you did, how well you aced the speech, or to get on the presentation, or whatever it is. Yeah. So, for part one, I'm gonna title this part one. For part one of needing help to speak in public, prepare and execute. And we'll go in depth in the next episode. I'd like to thank you guys for watching, or listening, per se, actually. Okay, you know what? I'd like to thank you guys for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, I'd like you to share it, rate it, leave a positive review if possible. It would really mean a lot to me. Also, that intro in the beginning, created by me, tell me if you like it. If you're on Anchor, send me a voice message. I would love to talk to you. If you want to be on the show, voice message me or contact me through my Instagram or somehow figure out. We'll talk. Thank you, and I will see you on the next one.